have a mompreneur. Woman has her own law firm, and she's from Trinidad and Tobago. Shalini, tell me about an obstacle that you really had to get over.
One of them that really stands out with me is when I moved to Texas. I was licensed for 10 years at that time, and I decided that I was going to make Texas my new home with my family. And so I sat the bar exam. At that time, I was working as a paralegal at a law firm, trying to get some experience in Texas. And when I got my license and everything, I applied to a law firm, the law firm that I was working for, to become an attorney there. And I was told by the owner that because of my accent, I could not be hired as a litigator because judges and juries will not understand me. And therefore, I would not be a good fit for that firm. And yes, that was my reaction. In fact, for many weeks, I hid it, and I hid it for a long time, meaning that only my family members knew about it. My husband knew about it, and it really shocked me that then it was 2016. I was living in a society that was still so backward thinking and segregating, right? And then so I held on to that for a while, and then I moved kind of into Houston proper, and then I got a completely different experience where I applied to other law firms, and I got into another law firm, and I eventually became the managing attorney at that law firm doing litigation. And my accent was completely embraced by judges, by juries. And then soon after that, while I was working there, I remember that stigma always being with me, even while I practiced as a litigator. Always in the back of my mind, I'm speaking in court, and I'm always thinking, oh my God, are they understanding me? I'm so more conscious of slowing down when I speak. Are jury members there going to look at me and going to hold it against my clients? These are all things that I had to deal with for a long time. But I got some good training, and then I think for me, what was really liberating was I went to the Houston Bar Association had a diversity summit that I went to, and in a crowd of 100 people, I actually told my story for the very first time to an open audience, because I had never shared it with anyone other than my family members and my very close friends. And so that was the first time, and I think I got liberation from that. And then shortly after that is when I decided that I am okay with what happened, that not everyone is like that. Not everyone sees the world like that.
I ask you a question, because a lot of women like that are very stuck in a lot of shame. You said you got up. What drove you to finally get up, though? Because this is a major step.
Yeah, so it was just, I guess, in the moment and how you feel. And I felt like I needed to step up and say something, because it was a diversity summit, meaning that there were lots of people from all different parts of the world who were there. There were lots of women there. And so the conversations that the panelists were having were centered around, equality in law. And I felt that this was my opportunity to stand up and do something or say something about a situation that I was faced with.
That is really something. So it's more that you were moved by the situation, because here you are in a diversity seminar, and there's not a whole heck of diversity going on, and especially in your experience, which really surprises me, considering I have no trouble understanding you, number one, and number two, that sounds a bit prejudicial to me.
Yes, and
really
that's how
does.
I felt. And as I said, I felt a lot of shame for a long time. And then I just finally opened up, and from that moment, I had a lot of clarity on where I needed to be and where I fit in. And then I decided shortly thereafter that I was going to start my own firm, and be able to promote myself and other women like me, and support women like me.
And you know, what I notice is that, and this happens with women that I work with too, is that once they're willing to release the shame around whatever it is that they're feeling or a situation, there is a freedom and they younger. How in the world did you balance having children and having your own business? How in the world did you manage it? How did you do it?
Well, I was always an entrepreneur. So I went into private practice the minute I came out of law school at the age of 24. And so I've always been in private practice until I moved to the US, is when I guess I got my first real job. And then I had my son while I started. So I found out I was pregnant with my son when I started my own chambers in Trinidad. A very good friend of mine and I decided we're going to open our own shop. And I found out I was pregnant with my son that very month. And so we named our chambers Athena Chambers, you know, the Greek goddess of wisdom. And it evolved into a safe haven for a lot of us women who were practicing law while at the same time having families. So it was not unheard of for our kids to be there at 3:00 when school was done. They would be hanging out in the office until we were done work, or that there would be, you know, oftentimes notices on the door, don't come in because someone's, you know, pumping milk, or breast milk in the refrigerator. And we always have to joke, please guys, that's not creamer for your coffee. And that's what Athena Chambers really was for me, that home where I could rely on other women like me, and we really supported each other.
That is so amazing. And what sort of characteristics of a person icon would you consider collaborating with?
For me, it needs to be someone who is balanced, a balanced person, because I don't believe that, hey, it's all work and no play. Because for you to be truly happy and to truly give the best of you that you have to have happiness in every aspect of your life. So for me, I would like to work with someone like myself who is, you know, we have families, we have other things going on. We like to volunteer at our churches and other institutions, or we like to, you know, be a part of different organizations, but that we can give in other aspects of our lives, but truly, you know, have a balance about life, and not, it's just not about work, because there's so much more to life than just, you know, doing work, and like forgetting everything else that's happening, or forgetting to stop and smell the roses. Forgive me if I digress here, but when I came out into private practice, I started doing criminal defense. And there were not many young female attorneys that was in that arena, and not even many senior female attorneys that were practicing in that arena. In fact, I could name them all on one hand. And it was just so few people who were doing that, because it's such a grueling, you know, aspect of our profession, having to go to prison to see our clients and things like that. So that's where I began my practice. And I remember I was in the courthouse one day, and I was we have like a tea room there where all the attorneys, you know, when you're on breaks from court, would, you know, get coffee and tea and things like that. And there was another senior attorney there who, you know, I remember wanting and craving some sort of female mentor, because all of the mentors I had were all male, right? And so she sat there, and I remember always wanting to like pick her brain, or, you know, just sit with her and ask her how it is that she balanced life with being a mother and being a criminal defense attorney. And we were there one day, and it just happened that I can have this conversation with her. I remember being disappointed in the advice that I got, because she said, yeah, Shalini, it's hard. You know, I remember her just saying that, Shalini, it's hard, and it's very trying to sit there with your kids, you know, while they have homework and everything else, and you have to just get up at night and do the work that you need to do to prepare for court the next day. And that was it. You know, but it was not the kind of support that I guess I wanted or that I expected. I sort of expected her to say, hey, you know, if you ever feel overwhelmed, or if you ever feel that you want to talk about something, please reach out to me. You know, then she was mentoring junior male attorneys. But I have always, you know, in the back of my mind, I've always felt that women were always reluctant to help other women, because I guess they struggled so much to get to where they were, or they are in life, that they tend to say, well, you know, it's part of the course, and you have to just, you know, go through the trenches and, you know, build your way up.
I think that there's something that you have brought up, some very good points. Number one, you asked for support. Maybe it wasn't exactly in your work for you. However, you were willing to ask, because I think that the first thing we need is to ask. And number two, you recognize, I can't do this alone. This life thing is kind of big. And that's one of the things that I know that we do, that we all need one another.
Luckily for me, I had a lot of very strong men around me who were very supportive.
We always remember the people that were our support. I think the universe's way of saying you're not done yet. And
Yes.
It's really okay. And those miracles happen. And I think if our eyes are open to them, they will come.
So last year, I started my own firm and I stopped doing litigation because I felt that was not my way of really supporting my clients. In that, a lot of times litigation, first of all, it's a very, very stressful thing to put your clients through, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, just the idea of suing someone like kind of opens your eyes. You know, there's always a fight when someone dies, right? There's always a fight over property, over burial, there's always a fight. And so I found a way that I could actually help my clients by doing proper planning to avoid that kind of conflict for their loved ones, so that there's not a 5-year court battle over a piece of property, because everything's already laid out there. You can do anything, and that you should support each other. You know, men support each other. You know, that's why they're so successful. You look out there, men are supporting men, and we have to learn to support each other and stop being jealous of successes of others, and start seeing that as our chance to also be successful.
There's plenty of abundance to go around. And thank you for being our guest today. It's been a delight.
Thank you so
very
much,
much.
Jody.
It's been great.